Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Teacher Raph. This is Twilight Zone episode 12. I will tell you some information, okay? I don't want to tell you everything at once because it's going to be too overwhelming. You're going to be in shock and you won't even understand how to digest it because I'm still digesting it. I'm still trying to ask myself, how does this work? Okay? I spent a lot of hours reading material that only lawyers and historians should be reading. And even after reading it, the complex language and the complex ideas in it really take a long time to wrap my mind and any mind around it because I don't have a teacher telling me what it all means. I'm trying to decipher this information. I want to start with asking you about the video that you've probably seen. And if you haven't seen, look it up, okay? We've been getting breadcrumbs dropped in our laps, and now we have to start thinking, what does it mean? So we have to start elevating our thinking instead of fighting each other. Don't do that. Elevate our thinking. Start thinking objectively. Remember the video of the Herbert Walker Bush funeral and how everyone is speculating what's inside the envelope, okay? Well, there was a business card inside the envelope. It was Herbert Walker Bush's business card. And it said, former president of the United States of America. And then it said, they know everything. I'm sorry. Signed George Bush, okay? And so people are speculating, what does this mean? What does this mean? Does it mean A? Does it mean B? Does it mean C? Well, I think that it has to do with power, okay? It has to do with the power of the continental United States. And if you recall, there was a speech recently. Mike Pompeo said that there will be a peaceful transition of power. Those are very important words because I think that if the public knew all the details of what's going on, they would, rightfully so, they would panic. But we don't need to panic. Don't panic, okay? That's not going to solve anything. So I think that they're slowly giving us breadcrumbs to kind of like ease us in, which is good because we don't want to be shocked with the truth all at once. We have to be slowly eased in. But it's very important that Mike Pompeo said that there's going to be a peaceful transition of power. And I do believe, correct me if I'm wrong, or go look it up yourselves, that he was talking about the Trump administrations, plural. Whether you like that or not, I don't have any power over that. We don't have any power over that. But what's important is the whole peaceful transition. And the entire statement by George W. Bush, Herbert Walker, that is, saying they know everything, he's alluding to the power dynamic of the United States, the bureaucracy of the United States, okay? And how that bureaucracy is going through a paradigm change, a paradigm shift presently. And this is one of the reasons that we're all feeling this weird intuition that something is strange. We're feeling a weird grief, or we did feel a weird grief, okay? Because the paradigm has shifted. And this paradigm, as I touched in one of my previous videos, I think it was episode 9 or 10, that we're moving from a corporation to a republic. In order to fully understand that, you would probably need to read a lot of lawyer talk, a lot of attorney jargon, okay? And slowly digest it piece by piece. Maybe we'll do that together. I scanned the information, and it's still sort of, some of it is understandable and some of it is very mysterious because we don't fully understand what's going to happen later on. But we can still have faith that there are good people in charge that are ushering in this paradigm shift, and they have our best interests in mind. We have to think that, we have to think that, and we have to have that faith and that hope. Now, the arrest of the Pope, the troops at the Capitol, the paradigm shift, the peaceful transition of power, all of these entities, all of these independent ideas are actually all connected, and for good reason, and it has to do with this so-called bureaucracy or system, and who rules the system, how it's ruled, and what are the rules of its bureaucracy. Okay? You have to understand something. When the United States was under a corporation for roughly 150 years after Lincoln, the citizens, each citizen who was born in the United States and who immigrated into the United States and became a naturalized citizen and has a social security number, those numbers represent property. So there's pros and cons, right? As a U.S. citizen, you have protections, which is great. The military has your back. Fantastic, right? But at the same time, you're looked upon as property. We are looked upon as property under that guise of the corporation. So it means that we pay taxes. Our labor is being used for other people's gain that we don't know about. So that's kind of the con. Okay, now we're really used to that system, and it feels comfortable even though we don't like it. We feel at ease that something is holding us secure. So any new system, any new paradigm is frightening, scares us because we don't know. We're afraid of the unknown, and rightfully so, right? But we have to have a clear mind, and we have to elevate our thinking. We have to be objective. We can't panic because that's not going to help us, you know? So under this old system, the British and the Vatican had a sort of lineage in this bureaucracy of control. They were profiting off of us. Now, remember something. Please distinguish between a bureaucracy and a faith. Those are two different things, okay? People in bureaucracies do good and bad things, okay? But that does not mean an entire faith is wrong, okay? So please distinguish that in your mind. You have to be objective. Now, what am I saying? I'm saying that because the bureaucracy of the Vatican may have done some ills, those people should be held accountable. But please don't go off on a witch hunt because you think, Catholicism is to blame. That is not the culprit. Catholicism is an objective concept faith, okay? That has nothing to do with people in a bureaucracy making orders and signing documents. That's separate, and you have to keep that in mind. You have to be smart. You have to elevate your thinking, because if you don't, you're going to fall prey to prejudice, and you're better than that. Don't fall prey to prejudice, even if it's on a grand scale or on a minor scale. You have to be smarter than that, okay? People are not all ugly because of their faith. Keep that in mind. So, the U.S. went in, allegedly, and arrested the Pope. And people wonder if it's true, if it's false. I wonder why. Why would they do this? And it has to do with this old system that we were under, this corporation, because the Vatican is supposedly the epicenter of Western power. Old Rome, remember the Roman Empire? People think it disappeared. No, it didn't. It just changed. Okay? It altered itself. So it's connected to the crown, and then the crown, that is Westminster, which is an independent city-state, look it up, is connected to the United States as a corporation, and it's siphoning funds from all of us, okay? That was the old system. Now, what am I saying about the whole George Herbert Walker Bush? They know everything, okay? That means that idea of the corporation going null and void was supposed to be a secret that we were not supposed to know. We were not supposed to know that we were no longer going to be under the old corporation. That was supposed to be secret so it could be perpetuated forward in time, even though by a law, by a constitution, in not only the original one, but the one in the 1800s, the 1860-ish constitution, look it up, it would free us from this. But they didn't want us to know. They don't want us to know because they want to perpetuate the tax on us. Not our lifestyle. Our lifestyle is not what's under attack. The tax, the monies, the labor, the energy we put in, okay? And so this is why it's been talked about that if we get out from underneath of the corporation, the dollar's value will rise, okay? And people will have a lot more worth, like material worth. Now, I am not an economist. I'm not an attorney, and I'm not a historian. So the ways of how this works, it's still a very huge mystery to me. I've been reading a lot of information about it, but I mean, I think that someone who is a historian, who is an actual expert of the details, would be able to talk about the clarity of what this actually means and how it was unfolding and now how it's not unfolding any longer. Because I don't think a normal attorney is going to be reading this and be able to translate this into actual language that we can understand. They'll just understand that we're no longer under a corporation, plain and simple. But what does that actually mean? What does that translate into? Well, there is a point forward. I think what's important is that when I'm gathering information and I'm finding out that there's going to be a limited martial law and it's going to be around 12 or 13 states, I ask myself, okay, why? And when I dig further or I look into more information, I realize, well, the Continental Congress back in the day, they had 13 states, didn't they? So I think there's a connection to that. I know that there's a connection to that. Can I explain this connection? Do I fully understand this connection? I don't. I don't fully understand it. I can't explain it because I'm not a historian. But there's something to do with state law. And as we were seeing, Texas seceding from the Union, okay, it should give you a hint that states are no longer wanting to be under the control of the federal government, right? Under D.C. D.C. is its own entity now, and it always has been, but even more so, it's in a new light, okay? Therefore, there are all those thousands of troops, and there will be more. And the way this all works is that there's a municipal power, there's a territorial power, and then there's a armed forces power. And so these people pledge allegiance to the Constitution. And you have to ask yourself, which Constitution? The original 1700s or 1860s Constitution? And what does that mean? Okay? Now, these are just clues and ideas of what's taking place. Like I said, I'm reading this stuff and trying to digest it. There's so many moving parts. Well, I'm talking about the details, that it's hard to just wrap your mind around because we're in the middle of this huge paradigm shift. And we're moving into a republic, or we have already moved into a republic, but people don't know, and people don't understand what that means. I don't understand what that means. No one understands what that means because it's brand new ground that we're breaking, you understand? But certain arrests and certain culprits are being apprehended, so this newfound freedom, I guess you could say, won't be used against us in the ways or worst ways that it has been in the past. I hope you enjoyed this, and if you haven't subscribed, please do so. Hit like, leave a comment if you have evidence or source links, and I will make additional videos with more information as I have more information, but I'm trying to understand how to communicate it. Thank you very much. Take care. Have a good day, and remember, be safe.